Filtered.
Iko na nini?
Unfiltered with Ndongo Gashane and Daniel Karaoke.
Yes, of course, indeed, this is Unfiltered, the home of unrivaled political analysis of current affairs and what is happening around the country, geopolitics, and actually outside the country. I'll be hosting this show alone today because my co-host Dan Karaoke is engaged elsewhere. And today, I'm glad to have Embedded North MP Leonard Wamuthende. Mheshimiwa.
Yes, sir.
Najua anytime we are mentioning that name. Muthende. Sometimes because I come from the mountain, it has different connotations and sometimes mtu anahisi haya.
Yeah. Thanks for welcoming me. Thanks for hosting me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
To share about the state of politics. Yeah, about the name, it's very interesting. But I always say,
yes,
it's a nice thing.
It's a nice thing.
Yeah, it's a nice name for a good person, and it describes a good thing. Because, like I always say, show me one person who doesn't like it.
Everybody likes it. And by the way, that name actually catapulted your name across the country because it is unique.
Yeah, it's and by the way, they are Muthendes. In fact, I know a Muthende from Muranga, although the origin is Embu. From where I come from, it's a nut. It's not Thende, And I encourage people not to see Thendes live during the day. Work hard. Avoid Thendes daytime.
Do you think that name actually assisted you in terms of being elected? Did it play any part or any role?
Well, I think the uniqueness and then that everybody within especially the upper side of the mountain was talking about it because the moment people heard that, they couldn't believe it, And strange enough, in my ward, we have a place called Murangandogo. In fact, after that name was highlighted on a show, one of the Kikuyu radio stations, I actually asked one of my neighbors, like, how come you never told? Because it was my dad's nickname.
Yes.
Why you never told my dad that name has and he was so happy with that name. We like it. We are Muthende.
So it's not your name. It was a nickname.
Yeah, it was my father's nickname. That's how he was known. My late father. So I revived the name. Okay. I adopted it. Okay. Yeah, and then
because Wa means surname. Wa Muthende. So it's a son.
So Muthende is my dad.
Yes.
So Wamuthende is like
nice.
So that's but now the deputy president propelled it. There is this thing he said.
Wamuthende. Guitar.
And then my opponent did justice because every meeting he went to, he spoke less about him and more about me. So he would ask people, Karinda, Ratiro, Kanandawa, Igwito Muthende. So it was, and on online also, those two, they really, it trended a lot.
They helped you.
Yeah.
So I think part of you owe your win to your opponent. You should thank him.
Well, I think I had a better plan. I had a better strategy, but I think. Well, he played a role.
Now, talking about your opponent and what is happening around the country, I think we need to now discuss of what the president said yesterday, his utterances. I think you're one of the victims you are a victim of those backlash, personal attacks by your opponents and the opposition leaders in Mbeere North. But we have seen the president, your president, now seems to have adopted the same strategy to attack his opponent. Don't you think this is presidential at all?
Well, like you correctly say, in my time, I mean, during my campaigns, I had a tough time because a lot of time I felt the need to respond. And the thing is, when you are with the people, sometimes and for me, I vied in 2017. I did a very
Oh, you were on the ballot in
in
2017
2017 for gubernatorial position in Embu County.
through the UDA party.
No, that was not Kenya.
Oh,
then.
not Kenya.
Yeah. That time UDA wasn't.
Oh yeah,
was not
2017.
born.
Sorry,
2017.
yeah, I thought it was 2022.
So, and I've never engaged in attacks ever. So, but I'm warming up to it because I think I've come to appreciate that Kenyans like it. Kenyans like to see these exchanges, and it's not a bad thing in a way. Of course, I would want if our politics could move from personalities, personal attacks,
Yes,
and
to
to issues,
yes.
then it would be good. But our president has been talking about issues
The
from the word go.
infrastructure, the affordable housing.
Infrastructure, affordable housing, about SHA, about Nyota Fund and propelling the youth, about the Hustler Fund, about coffee. You know, he has revived coffee. No one is talking about it, including the self-proclaimed Mount Kenya kingpin. You know,
we will talk about it to see whether he's self-proclaimed.
If you look at the president since he started, he's been consistently talking about his plan. Now, when he started, of course, even if when you get into a new role, you have a plan. And when they got in, even the former deputy said the coffers were empty. So now, when the president started thinking about how to make the coffers at least have something to for development, his deputy started sabotaging him. He remained focused. I'll never forget one of the memes, like when he went to Mount Northeastern and he talked of a road from Mandera to Isiolo, and he was mentioning every stop. You know, our president is very smart. I can't even remember all the stops. He had Modogashe, which one, and people were calling him Kasongo, Kaongo, you know, and he had a plan. Now he is in the implementation phase. We said he must go that time. And of course, I would forgive Kenyans at that time because he was just talking about plans.
He was promising.
But now he is implementing and people are still saying he must go. I mean, what's wrong with these people?
So you're saying because the president has realized, or because your team have actually realized that Kenyans are not focused more or they are not development oriented?
No, the Kenyans want development. They appreciate development. But when politicians speak, they want politicians to speak to their emotions. Like now, for me, my president is my role model, you know, in politics. I look up to him as, and there are so many Kenyans like that. So when people call him names and he is telling us about development, it's not resonating well with most of his supporters. I am telling you, the way people felt yesterday, it's
they are
like
happy.
Some weight has
Kenyans
been
happy?
relieved. We are happy. We who support him are so happy
but you see
because you are a human being as well. If someone wakes up every day is talking about how you are stealing, how you are taking over Nairobi Hospital, how you look. I am so happy the president called them out. And I dare say, if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. And the one who now knows that is one Goliath. This guy we call
deputy president,
Mtu wa Mitego. Because, I mean, look at the case of a young woman in Nyeri. You know?
But
we want...
I don't know.
I
if
don't
the
know.
president feels that whatever he said about the former deputy president is true, why can't he just instruct the DCI and...
Because it will be done silently. Why should it be done silently? No, we want Kenyans to know that this guy is a murderer. Let Kenyans know. In fact, I don't even know why the president has not revealed. We need the DCI to release the recordings at Kisumu. Because this guy was planning to assassinate the president.
But you don't have evidence.
This guy, DCI have all that. It's only that, you know, when friends are fighting, sometimes we know, if you look at even most murder cases, most of them, if you look at the highest percentages, people who know each other. It's even like in the villages, people fight
Yes.
over land. You know, it's very easy to get very angry with someone you know. It's very easy to get so mad with someone you know. So people get a weapon, you attack your brother, you kill your brother. So I believe the president, in his own wisdom, thought, you know, this guy is emotional. We've had a relationship, and he has his own weaknesses. But let me forgive him. Those recordings need to come out, because people need to know what this guy was plotting, how they took over the Gen Z uprising, and decided to try and overthrow the government. This thing is in the public
nobody
domain.
has ever been arrested in connection with
and I've given you a very substantive reason. I mean, if two brothers are fighting, it's always easier to reconcile. But if one has decided to go below the belt, let it come. Let even the DCI release these things. This guy is a very evil man.
Okay, Mheshimiwa, look at it this way. Some of the people who feel that the president is degrading or bringing disrepute to the presidency, feel that he is a symbol of national unity. Gachaguas and Matiangis and Kalonzos can say anything, but the president, President Ruto, is also Gachagua's president. Is also Kalonzos' president. So there is a feeling that you are stooping too low, or you are being actually led to a trap by the opposition leaders. So there is a feeling that Ruto is slowly getting in the trap, as opposed to concentrating and focusing on his development agenda. So what do you feel about it?
First of all, the total number of minutes he spent talking about it should be less than 10 if you combine the clips.
But people are talking about.
The total amounts. The total amount spent by the president on those what you call an issue is maybe less than 20 minutes. He spends his 24 hours. Most of his 24 hours are on development, and Kenyans know it, but Kenyans don't talk about it. They just talk about the president who maybe is not working, you know, finance bill, Gen Z, or abductions and all that, you know. But look at the way Kenyans have reacted when he has answered. Now, some people are saying he has stooped low. But who says that? It's still people who oppose him. For us, we are clapping. In fact, we want him to come out again today. If he has something else, let him release it.
Let him continue.
Because at the end of the day, we are all human beings. And if, in fact, for me, I want to urge Kenyans to be fair to the president, because this man has dedicated his life to Kenya as a president for the last 3 years, waking up so early, sleeping so late, burning the midnight oil, trying to fix this country. And like, while he's doing that, every day online, public meetings, people are just insulting him. In fact, I don't think any 2 or 3 people can achieve that. Like, you are focused. Just imagine, even in your own house, when you go home, you bring some goodies to the house, the kids enjoy, and then your wife is just telling you how useless you are not working, you are not performing, you are not, you know, he's just telling you things that you don't really want to hear. But you still continue being a good father. There are not so many people who can do that. So for me, I want people to be fair to the president. Imagine it has taken a whole 3 years for him to be comfortable enough to speak. And I can, you know, if I can just try to infer, I can try to think about it. Maybe the president has actually realized, oh, I came in, the coffers were empty. I came in, I could not develop this country. I have done so much. And oh, I'm at a space where now I can look back at what I've done. And I have a few minutes for these fools. So let me just answer them. I think at this time, the president, with what he has done, he is in a position to actually take a few minutes to respond to these guys. And let me tell Kenyans, you are not being fair. If you consider any of these opposition misleaders presidential material. Why are you not calling them off?
They are just calling off the president.
Because the president the president doesn't drop from the from the heavens or from
He's
the
a
skies.
human being.
He is born, bred and brought up in Kenya, the same son of soil. So if there is a son of the mountain who has poisoned our people, the people of Mount Kenya, for example, can I tell you the fact? Nairobi Hospital, top 10 earners, top 10 doctors, top 10, 7 out of 10. One is actually a Jew, an Israeli. I don't know whether he's a Jew or not. One of the most renowned doctors in Kenya, Dr. Silverstein. But top 10, they are all from Central.
They hail from Mount Kenya.
They hail from Mount Kenya. Our sons are suffering in Nairobi Hospital, a hospital which is the beacon of hope for
But
this
before we
region.
come to Nairobi
Let me
Hospital.
just finish because I
Because I
want
want to talk
I want
about
to
it.
punch holes on this guy. This hospital has been taken over by a board that is again from a community that doesn't even have enough doctors in that hospital.
Which community is that?
Yeah, Matiang'i. Those guys are shielded by Matiang'i. Yes, the bodies or all of them from Kisii, and they have nothing. They have no patriotism. They don't love that institution.
But they are there in their capacity as doctors, not
they are
from
a
their
board.
community.
No, they are a board. I'm talking of the board. Of course, they are Kisii doctors in Nairobi Hospital, but I'm saying
The board. You are
I'm talking of the board, and they are just doing musical chairs rotating. This guy is chair this time, the CEO, and as they do that, the hospital is losing money, 3 billion losses every year. They have siphoned 4.2 billion shillings they have stolen. And I am requesting the president, please arrest these conmen.
Let me ask you much more.
Please arrest these fraudsters.
As you ask the president to arrest
and
the fraudsters.
again, as I finish, the president is defending our sons because I'm talking facts. If you go to the records of this institution, that out of top 10 earners in that hospital, remember Dr. Gikonyo was there. He went to Karen Hospital.
Yes.
He left a team there. 7 out of 10 are from Mount Kenya. So when Gachagua is preventing the president from intervening, who is he talking for? He is talking for these guys who are stealing.
I will ask you a question
Yes.
in regards to the Nairobi Hospital rows and those wrangles. But before I do, why do you think Kenyans are not appreciating the president? Because you say that you're asking Kenyans to be fair to the president.
Yes.
Why do you feel there is dissatisfaction or they are not appreciating the good work the president, you say, has done for the last 3 years?
Yeah.
And don't you think if Kenyans are not appreciating the president, it is not for you to ask them to appreciate the president. It is the president to understand why they are unhappy with him and probably mend his ways. So why do you think they are not appreciating the president?
The president cannot do anything about that because he is every day. If any Kenyan is objective, let's talk about being subjective and objective because that's how we are. Let's talk about perspectives. You know the famous 6 and 9 and where you are standing. So Kenyans went to the opposition side from the word go. Anything the president does, it just comes and passes. They don't want to see because what is in their minds, there was agency uprising, or there was abduction, or there is no development, or there is corruption, which are things that were happening in 2022, 2023. So when things now are looking up, when we are on a journey to Singapore, people are not appreciating that. And why?
They are still there during
I'm coming now to
protest.
answer your question. Because every day, what they are hearing from these opposition hecklers is Ruto must go, Kasongo is a thief, Kasongo is a murderer. Sijui in Mount Kenya anaitwa Kindiki. Even me, my vehicle had an accident. Unfortunately, a young man died. I was also called son of Kindiki. I'm Kindiki. So this is what Kenyans are fed with every day. So it's not like the president will do anything different to convince Kenyans because it's all out there in the open. Yeah. if you go to if you go to the government websites, including even Ministry of Health, and look at the dashboard, so I know most people don't go to those platforms, but even in social media, we have government bloggers as well, and they are posting what the president is doing, his speeches, you know, even Nyota. I'm telling you, a revolution for the youth. No one is, and even the same Gen Zs, they are told Nyota is a scam. They don't even apply. And you apply on your phone. All the Nyota awardees.
They are not applying the Nyota fund.
They don't even apply. Of course, we have enough who have applied because, and in fact, I was so happy. In one church the other day, there is a young woman, a young girl, who was actually a blogger in opposition, and actually she stood to speak and she said, I got Nyota fund, and now why would I talk bad things about the president, about you know, the government? So things are changing, but for now,
Kenyans are still stuck on
abductions. Because for me, what I like about what is happening, because like I said, it's about being objective. If you are objective, you'll talk about issues. The opposition is not talking about issues, and they are taking Kenyans away from the, you know, the government side. They are stealing people from us. Why? Because they are using emotions. And I'll give you an example. Being a student of science, you see, the part of the brain that controls emotion is a very tiny part. The part that thinks and you know, which the frontal lobe is the largest part of the brain, but this small part can flood it with emotions and you stop thinking. For example, if now I tell you attack him, you will ask me why. But if I tell you, I saw him yesterday with your wife, I will not tell you to attack him because I've targeted the emotional part of your brain, and that's how it works. So the opposition has been targeting the emotional part of the brain for Kenyans, and it has flooded, you know, the frontal lobe.
So are you saying Kenyans are not thinking straight now?
So now, we want now our people also to start being the same, so that you cannot take our people from us, because as we are telling them about development, you are just telling him how.
But they don't care.
They don't care. So now we want to appeal to Kenyans, both the issues part, because the president is doing issues, and we also now want to tell Kenyans that let us not listen to murderers. Let us not listen to people who have never developed their community.
Exactly the same strategy the opposition is using.
No, we are better because we are developing. We are doing
both.
We are headed to Singapore, but we are also we want to appeal now to that small part of the brain that can now tell these Kenyans, by the way, why is this murderer telling me about the president? And I can see what the president is doing. An astute businessman. The other thing I'm requesting the president, please give us a day in your life as a Kenyan, as a hustler, from selling chicken in the streets to being a farmer who is selling over 2 million eggs a day. Inspire us, Mr. President, because these fools who have nothing to do are going around poisoning Kenyans. Please inspire Gen Zs. Take us to your farm. Just go spend a day there. Let people see the farmer you are, you know. And when people see you going to fundraisings and giving money, let the people know how much you're making.
Where you get that money.
And how you started. And when people talk about Nyota Fund being inconsequential, let them know you started by selling chicken and eggs. You know, you had a stock of less than 1,000. You are giving 50,000. Mr. President, please, you are on the right trajectory. Speak to us. Let us see how you spend a day as a Kenyan. Let Kenyans see that, so that people stop placing you at a different. You know, people see you like, you know, people Kenyans are saying, "Oh, presidential." Presidential what? The president is working every day.
You're saying presidential my foot.
He is a Kenyan. So Wamunyoro is insulting the president every day, and he is presidential material.
But he is not. He is not the president of the Republic of Kenya.
I'm happy you say that.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's not presidential material. Can we agree, anyone?
Gachagua is not the current president.
No, he is not presidential material. Yeah?
That's not for me. What I'm saying is, the
Yes.
president of the Republic of Kenya is called President William Ruto. And
Yes.
let me ask you, you say that the opposition is stealing your people based on emotions.
Yes.
So where do you expect to get the votes that will re-elect President William Ruto in next year? Because
We
if you
have-
believe, you have said and you have admitted here
yeah.
that Kenyans are not thinking straight because the opposition has used emotions to
Yes.
steal them
Yes.
from your side.
Yeah.
We are heading to the polls.
Yes.
How will
We
Ruto
have
get
1 year, and we have started. We have started showing them the guys on top of roofs every day are murderers. Yeah, some have stolen. We heard about Rivayala. We want these things to be, these skeletons to be removed from the closets. Yeah, so let people know. And I'm telling you, it's really unfortunate, you know. When off camera, I mentioned someone like Sifuna, because I live here in Nairobi.
Yes.
I'm a voter in Bere. I live in Bere as well, but I'm here.
Yes.
And I can tell you, and I've asked, which single day have you heard that man talk about Nairobi County and what the governor is doing or not doing? The answer is zero. So if Kenyans are listening to such leaders, you know, no single bill in Senate to try and look at how can we help Gen Zs. I have 2 bills already I've sponsored just to look at how
5 months and
Yeah.
you have 2 bills.
Yes, of course it's in the pipeline.
Okay.
But
Or you have
received.
not
I have submitted.
Yes.
I'll be doing public sensitization on them.
What are they about?
One is on innovation. For example, a young man today, you know, like most technology now, most young people are technology savvy, and you know, you have people with fresh ideas, new ideas on how to do things. You approach government with a brilliant idea, and young men have done it. For example, if you see what Murang'a County is doing, their digitization is by young people.
Yeah.
But look at what happens. You take your idea to government, then they buy the idea, but you have to be taken through procurement. What is the first thing they ask for? A company that has supplied for 10 years. A man who has, you know, demonstration of performance for 5 years. Where does that young man have this? So the law I want to amend is to allow for innovative products by government to be sourced based on piloting. So you have an idea, you pilot it, it
Yes.
works, that is enough experience, government can buy for you. Put money in Kenya, in young Kenyans. Don't subject them to now people like us who have been in business more than 20 years.
Yes.
Of course, we'll come and shortchange you. So that is one. So that we encourage young Kenyans, because when Kenyans now start seeing a young man is now in charge of digitization of a ministry
Yes.
from campus with nothing, you know, from taking a matatu to buying a Range Rover. That's what we want to see in young people. The second one is on importation. You know, we are importing everything, including toothpicks. You know, we have manufacturers who make these products in Kenya, like tissue, everything.
Yeah.
So why do we need to keep on importing these products? So the law I'm seeking to introduce, that every product imported should have a term limit. Because when you're importing, you're employing people in China, in India, and elsewhere. But if you import to get a market, then this market can be fed from local manufacturing. So, for example, even textile. Mbere used to grow cotton in the past. We never grow because we are now importing clothes, you know. So, this bill seeks to give a limit. So you import maybe, we'll talk of from 2 years for simple products, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 years. And you see, we will not force you to manufacture. What will happen if there is a manufacturer for sanitary towels or, you know, tissue papers or all these other products? All you need to do is to go to them. There is something called contract manufacturing. They manufacture your brand for you. So instead of importing from China, you go to a local company here, boost their production, boost employment, increase employment. And these are the solutions we need as a country. Not coming to say Ruto must go.
That's a good initiative. But do we need a bill or a law to encourage. We can even encourage local manufacturers. So I think what is preventing
is
local investors to
pricing. By the way, I speak this from experience.
Yes.
What happens is when you subject a locally manufactured product to competing with an imported product, you know, you can see the size of this room. I can operate as an importer from this room, but a manufacturer needs such a building. He needs to employ from cleaners. You know, in this room, you don't need a cleaner. You don't even you need maybe a salesman out there who you pay on commission. But a manufacturer has to be elaborate. It's a unit that will employ minimum 50 Kenyans, you see. So you cannot compete with this guy who will take a briefcase, maybe not pay taxes, maybe close tomorrow, maybe has no plan for continuity. You cannot compete with that guy.
But he has a manufacturing plant from wherever he operates.
Where, in China?
Yeah.
Exactly. So he just goes and buys based on what he needs tomorrow. If he decides to shut down, he can shut down.
So does the bill also talk about the pricing and the taxes?
No, you see,
because those are some of the...
Yes. Now I'm coming to that. Now, what happens after your term limit? After your term limit, your taxes goes higher.
Okay.
Yes. So after your term limit, now you choose either to manufacture locally or you pay for employing people in China. We charge you premium because you have chosen to continue employing people in China, not Kenyans. So we increase your tax. That's the bill.
That's a good one. So you were saying something about Sifuna, where you are very busy thinking of very important bills. You are saying that Sifuna is enjoying free airtime there. So
yeah, people are, I mean, what qualities do Kenyans look for in leaders?
But he talks about...
It's very perplexing.
He actually holds Governor Sakaja into account.
When?
I've had him oppose the deal to donate some of the functions to the state, the national government. Which
functions? I can tell you, the president wants to help the governor in light. Remember, we are going to Singapore. By the way, anyone who is being left behind, I'm sorry, but we have taken off. We want to improve lighting in the city. We want to improve infrastructure. We want to improve solid waste management. We want to improve drainage. Yeah, we want to improve water provision. Let me ask you, any of those that is bad?
But you said Sifuna does not hold the governor.
No. Now you are saying he is preventing that deal. Yeah? Are Nairobians telling me that they don't want better solid waste management? Are Nairobians telling me that they do not want better infrastructure? Are Nairobians saying they don't want better lighting? Because if you sent your senator to prevent the national government from supplementing or complementing the county, then I don't know which Nairobi you live in. Because if the best thing he has done is oppose what the president or the government, national government is trying to do in Nairobi County, then he is misplaced. In fact, he should be impeached if there is such a thing. And let me ask you, I've continually talked about employment. We have contractors in Nairobi County who are owed billions.
Yes.
I don't have the figure of it, but I know it's the highest. It could be 10 billion. How many businesses are suffering because of that 10 billion? What has this Sifuna done to try and have a payment plan? You know, even if these people, just to sustain their businesses, to pay their rents, to pay their salaries. So young Kenyans cannot get jobs because the people are owed, businessmen are owed. He will never talk about it.
So why do you think he does not talk about it?
He was named among the most corrupt senators. Is anyone talking about it?
But he was named people said he's corrupt just after his rise, his meteoric rise. He's popular.
Yeah. No. I say, and that's why I started by asking, what qualities are Kenyans looking for in leaders? I can tell Kenyans, if you want, I will ask my team very soon to go to Bunge la Wananchi and listen to Kenyans. Very articulate, very, fighters. But Sifuna should not be speaking like he's speaking from Bunge la Wananchi. In fact, anyone who is shouting, any member of parliament who is shouting what should be done, that one, remove him from your leaders.
But you say that's what Kenyans want.
No. Now we are being objective. So from your list of leaders, remove that person. Why? It's not the number of words spoken per minute that determines the quality of a leader. It's what he does for the people who elected him. Because any elected person does not have to speak. Like for me, you didn't know about this. I don't have to talk about them. Until now, they are published and cleared for me to go for public participation. And I'll do it. I'll seek the president's help. I'll seek the, well-wishers' help. So that now I'm coming back to him. But the guys at Bunge la Mwananchi who articulate the same things he's articulating, they have no platform to change. This man can change a lot just by being in the Senate. Just from this Nairobi County, just from, other influencing. Because if you have a platform of being popular, use that platform to influence even other governors, Like now I would expect him to be taking stock of pending bills. And then he says any governor who does not clear at least 50% of pending bills by June, and take action. Because I'll come to solid waste management and planning. Yeah, buildings are being approved. Yesterday I was coming from one of the stations around in Kiambu Road. There is a place that floods every day. I don't know whether you use that Kiambu Road sometimes. There is a place that floods. There is even a house as you go down towards DCI that floods. Guess what is happening across? There is a fence being constructed. That's a river. That's a swamp. Who are approving these plans? These are county governments. Who should be putting them on check? It is senators. So why are we talking about even myself, I became popular for a moment, and I tell him to use this popularity moment for the good of the people he represents. That is Nairobi. Leave the president to us. We are in the National Assembly. We are there to check and oversight the national government. It's not your work. Your work is the county government.
But he's in the one term. He said he also wants President Ruto to go for one term.
Who?
Sifuna. So
and him.
And his obligation is a Kenyan.
Look who's talking. Look who's talking. Unashindana na ndovu kufanya hiyo kazi. The President Ruto has been elected. I have not taken stock. But he has been elected. He has never lost an election. From his young days, he has done several terms as member of parliament. He has been minister. We are talking of more than 20 years of political experience in power.
You believe
now you are someone who has just come in, someone who has just half a term to show, because Sifuna is half term as we speak, President Ruto is more than 5 terms in election. So who is this who is talking?
So you don't believe Ruto can lose an election?
President Ruto, not because he has never lost, but Kenyans now are woke. I'm telling you, my election, look at what Gachagua said. Of course, we are in court, and I'm sure anyone who wants to enjoy comedy, please go to my Facebook page. Enjoy comedy. You see witnesses who don't know what they are talking about. Please, just check. They don't know. They are actually saying in court they have lied. So anyway, my election, and I stamped authority recently by winning 2 wards, both UDA, and emphatically, no question. Of course, mine was in doubt because people believed in Mount Kenya, UDA cannot win. But, and I have friends all over. I am stopped in malls by people from Mount Kenya who tell me they really prayed for me. I go to Nyeri, I go to Murang'a. I've not gone to Kiambu yet. People tell me they prayed for me. And I feel so happy because just knowing that there are people in Mount Kenya who are praying for President William Ruto, who are praying for Muthende. That gives me satisfaction.
Let's talk about, now that you talk about Mbere North and Evrore and major words, we may now talk about Embu politics. And for quite some time, the Democratic Party, which is headed by former Attorney General Justin Muturi, has been ruling in that region. But with your win, do you think now that with your win and actually Muminje and Evrore words that all went to UDA, do you think Muturi's time in politics is over?
First, Muturi was picked from the gutters. He lost. He lost to
He's
one.
a party leader. He was a Kenya Kwanza coalition.
Yeah, he was, you know, anyway, I don't body shame and I don't like talking about this, but honestly, he was picked from the gutters. He had lost. He was made speaker. As speaker, he's never, you know, had any impact to the community. He never even, there is no single centimeter of tarmac to his name, not even to his home. But anyway, let me come to your question. First, to put it into context, we had, I had two opponents who are MCAs, so they resigned, and we had two vacancies. And we've had two political leaders in Bere. And one is respected leaders, that is Justin Muturi and Lenny Kivuti. And the reason is, I'm sure now by now you've heard about clans in Bere. So one is from either clan. And so, you know, they have been the ones who have had a say for most of the time. Until GK Roku came. You know, he's been in the political scene for a long time. And he came, he had a short time in parliament. The president noticed how dedicated he is. He's become minister and, I mean, cabinet secretary, and he's doing very well in that ministry. Always stopping in terms of, you know, Kenyans giving feedback. So people in Bere have chosen to listen to one person who is not clan-based. So you have people from either sides listening to him. So when we went for this election, so we went for this election, it was really these two leaders decided to share the awards because they are both party leaders, by the way.
Yes.
DP and DEP.
Yeah.
Yeah, DEP by Lenny. So Lenny took award and Muturi took award. And then
Muturi took the Mumeja one.
No, Muturi took Evrore with DP. Yes. And, you know, Kivut took the, yeah. And then Muthende took both awards. So, of course, I had the support of my governor.
Yes,
Cecily Mbarire, who's doing an amazing job at Embu County. And support of my senior, who is Geoffrey Kiringa Ruku. They gave full support. So this time, the people who led this campaign would be Cecily Mbarire and GK Ruku. These are the people, and then myself, you know. For me,
Kama mtu wa mkono hapo.
Yeah, mimi wacha nikue mtu wa mkono. You know, people who have been in politics more than 15 years. When I'm mentioning their names, yes, I will not put my name there. Mimi niko hapa mkono.
Yeah, so the people who are controlling Embu politics.
Yeah.
Are you saying Kivuti and Muturi are old guys?
Long gone. In fact, you know, like well, I'm mostly in the medical field. I'm giving so much of those examples. You've heard of a vegetable in hospital where you are brain dead. So you are gone long ago, but we are still here, you know, hanging on hope. So these guys were gone long time. They just didn't realize. And the few supporters didn't realize. But people were done with them even before my campaigns. Because during my campaigns, it also was very clear that people did not listen to them. I was actually elected across the clans. So I want to say that people have moved on. People respect Governor Cecily Mbarire. I don't know if polls are being done now. If anyone is thinking about attempting that gubernatorial seat, I think they are sick. Then
Kivut wants to vie for the governor.
Come, baby, come. Yeah, come, baby, come. Yeah, we are ready. We are waiting. If you are beaten, even in the rule of games, if you have to do an odd number, it's either 3, and fools go for 5. So if you are already at 2-0, yeah, that's a win. It's a win for Cecily Mbarire. It's a win
are you
for
saying Ruku
GK
and
Ruku.
Mbarire are now the new sheriff in town?
Those are the new sheriffs in town. Those are the people. That part of the mount. I mean, Embu County is listening to, and Mount Kenya East and West is warming up to this new brand of leaders who are more focused on issues. Yeah.
What about Mount Kenya region? Because we have Fire See Fire.
Yes.
And the man you guys are calling Gorilla. But Gorilla is a symbol of strength, might? Don't you think so? So you also agree that Gachagua is might in terms of politics?
is a symbol of a bully, not a symbol of might. Because if you are given might, you are supposed to use it to help the weak. You are supposed to carry people around you. Yeah, but that is Goliath, and that's why he's felled by a hard boy, Yeah, so again, for me, I like talking to Kenyans, especially the young people. Please choose your role models. Look at the CV for Professor Kithure Kindiki. First of all, we are one among the few countries in the world. We have a president who is a doctor, PhD, not, the few that are collected in some, wannabe universities. PhD from the University of Nairobi. We have a professor, professor as a deputy president.
Professor of law.
Professor of law. One of the people who became professors at a young age. Kenyans, what role models do you want? Yeah, even from that itself, there is some sense of pride. You can actually want to be a doctor. You can want to be a professor. You can want to go to politics. You can want sanitized politics, because the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, has a track record of being a good leader, of being in the Senate, and being a professor. I mean, he has many students, even though he's not, advanced in age. So I want to say, I don't want at any single point to compare this Mtu wa Mitego and
with
Professor
the
Kithure
Professor
Kindiki. I want us to look for a madman somewhere who has some clout, and then we compare the two. But give me another professor, and another astute politician, I compare. But we cannot mention the two. It's just that, unfortunately, if today you go to a place where there is a big crowd, and someone starts undressing, and someone picks the Bible and starts preaching the good word, there will be so many people going towards the person who is undressing. Some will be cheering them on, some will be taking videos, but no one will pay attention to this. That is the nature of people. In fact, Albert Einstein once said, in science, and this is a fact, nothing is faster than light. Nothing is faster. There is no particle that is faster than the light particle. But Albert Einstein joked and said, except, bad news. Yeah? Bad news travel fastest. And it is the law up to date. Propaganda, bad news, anything that is negative moves faster. And that's why he may appear to have clout, but I really hope Kenyans will wake up to that day when they say now, okay, we were somewhere in 2022, it wasn't good. 2023 wasn't good. 2024, we started, rising. 2025, 2026, we are in a good position. Housing, healthcare, the economy, the coffee sector, the sugar sector, basically, generally agriculture. So Kenyans need to come and say, okay, is it possible for the next 6 months we give the president some space to work? without saying no term, one term, half term, any term. And then we come back in January to say whichever term. Because you started saying one term even before the president could work. How is your one term valid? As a scientist, I tell you, your one term is not valid, it is not objective, it is misplaced. Because someone cannot just start working and then you start saying they are not working.
Yes, back to Kindiki. The reason we are comparing the two is because one is the former, is current deputy president, the other is the former deputy president.
Yes.
So based on your honest opinion, who is the most popular leader in Mount Kenya region and who is the king of the mountain?
First of all, I want to go back to history. The mountain has never had a king. And you can...
politically, you know what I
mean.
No,
I mean,
who is
I will
leader?
give you an example. I will, we start with Kenyatta, you know. That time, of course, there was no much opposition. There was a lot of political assassinations and you know how that was operated. But now let's come back to the other leaders. Somebody like Kibaki and Matiba. No one had one voice. Yeah, Matiba would speak, Kibaki would speak. But what happens is Mount Kenya vote as a block. Yeah, people voted for Kibaki. Kibaki never projected himself as a kingpin for the mountain. He took his agenda to the people. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta did not project himself as a kingpin for the mountain. That's why I'm saying we have never had a kingpin. Think about our leaders.
We call him Kamwana. You remember?
We say Kibaki. Was he our kingpin? No. Was he our leader? Did we give our best to Kenyans? Yes. We come to Kamwana. I don't want to speak much about him because I opposed him from 2018. But we showed that he's not our kingpin when we elected President William Ruto. So I like the objectivity around the mountain. I don't want to criticize some people who have always had their kingpin. One man speaks, one man issues certificates. I don't want to speak. The mountain has never been about that. And remember, there is a time there was a debate about leaders. And the people said the greatest turnover of MPs and elected leaders is in Mount Kenya. And the greatest development in this country is where? Just answer. It's in Mount Kenya. Because we take our leaders to account. We don't have a kingpin. I am MUTHENDE today, tomorrow I'll be taking holidays with my wife. No one will think about me because I'm in Mount Kenya. Because Mbere North people want development. They don't want a name. So when you ask me who is the kingpin, I will tell you Mount Kenya has never had a kingpin. We have a noisemaker. He has his time. He has his chance. He has his position to make noise. Let him make noise. I will tell you, in the mountain, there will be UDA, there will be DCP, there will be whatever party, there will be like 10 parties and independent. Giving you an example, in Embu County, we had Governor UDA, we had Senator DP, we had MP, there are 4 MPs, we had 2 UDAs, we had DP, we had independent. What does that tell you about Mount Kenya? People use their heads.
They use your heads.
People use their heads. They look at the person and know you are a thief, but you are in the party. So we go for the good person. We forget about the party.
Yes.
But if the party leader is good, we go for the party. That's how Mount Kenya operates. And I want to encourage people of the mountain, please, let us remain as we have always been. We listen to all of them, and then when it comes to voting, we select our leaders.
You say well, Mheshimiwa, but your mentor, C.S. Ruko, one time said that he wants to divide Mount Kenya from Mount Kenya West. Are you deviating? Are you going against what your political mentor, because he has been advocating for, he actually said that he's not a Kikuyu. In one of the rock constitutions, he said that he believes that culturally they differ, and a time has come that they must now separate from Mount Kenya West. And now you're talking about voting as a block, you're talking about voting as a unit. So where is the lie?
No, it's not a lie, it's again perspective. Because sometimes you really wonder Like for me, when I've gone to Muranga, I've gone to Nyeri, I've asked people, okay, so what is it that the president has done or not done so that you hate him? I've even spoken to people in actually I've had forums because personally I'm not abrasive. People feel it's easier to talk to me. So I'm in a funeral and I can actually ask who is one term and who is two term. And then I speak to one term, I speak to two
You
term.
ask them why
Yes,
don't you?
yes. I don't force people. Even when I speak to, I like people to make, let people see, let people hear, and people make their decision. So I ask one-time people, okay, yes, what is the biggest issue you have with the president? You'll be shocked about the answers. And of course, people feel aggrieved because one of their sons was not
impeached.
treated well. So, of course, then you ask it the parliament, they say no, the parliament was directed by the president. All these misconceptions. But then you come to a point and ask, so are you interested in a person or development? Are you interested in a person or the price of
and
coffee?
they also have another son.
Now,
who's Yes.
now, not for, I don't even, not even, before we come to Kindiki. Now, people start now not answering direct because they become conflicted. They want their son to be respected, but they also want a price of coffee to go up, maendeleo. Then you ask, is government doing something around that? Yes, government is doing. So these things now are happening. So as a community, you are not getting shortchanged. So then I ask, when two people fight, when we used to go to elders, what used to happen? They would be put there, you say your story, and they say, this one, so you've heard this one. Have you heard this one? No. So can we agree now that we just leave the space? We call this one because he has never spoken to come and talk to us. Then I ask them, okay, now when the president, when the deputy president was impeached, did the president have an option to go to ODM and pick? Yes, he could have done that.
Yes.
By picking Kithure Kindiki, what was he trying to show us? Was he trying to show us that he still loves us, or was he telling us that we don't mean anything to him? Again, people now they're saying, but no, you know, he could have come here, he could, you know, by the way, very objective conversations. And this is even in a funeral, so it's not like planned. So I'm coming to this point that now if you look at what C.S. Roko has been saying, he has been saying this. You know, Mount Kenya East and West have always voted as a bloc.
Yes.
Mount Kenya East has always supported Mount Kenya West. When it was Kibaki, actually I don't know why we were so inclined to Kibaki, not even Matiba. That time the two were competing. The time of Uhuru, the time of Kenyatta.
Even the Nithi votes.
Yeah, even the Nithi. And that's you know, that's prophetic. I'll come to that because I tell people of Nyeri the same. In fact, I tell the people of Odhaya are the ones who will launch the deputy president to the rest of the mountain because it's prophetic. I'll come to that. So what C.S. Roko has been saying, surely we don't question anyone you give us. How come when now one of our sons has been put in the limelight, you guys don't even want to recognize him? When someone comes and calls him soprano, you clap. How? You know, we are a region. Let's have some basic respect. Let us now come during the voting time and we say, okay, you guys did this to us, so that's why we are not with you. And that's why he says, but as Mount Kenya East, we will stand with our own, as you in Mount Kenya West have always stood with your own. It's only that when you stood with your own, we came in and supported you. But if you choose not to support us, we will stand with our own. It is not a conversation to divide the people. It's a conversation to bring the people down, come back to the senses and ask yourself, how far is Tharaka Nithi from Mathira? You know? So, and then we ask ourselves this question. When we talk about Tharaka Nithi, I don't think the president thought about it when he was doing this. One, most of the MPs, when the president gave them the option to choose a deputy president, they went for Professor Kithure Kindiki. Again, I'm talking of prophetic. It came back to him. Number two, Tharaka Nithi was known by every Kenyan as the region that brought votes to Kibaki, a son of Nyeri. So we have a son of Nyeri who was supported by a son from Tharaka Nithi, I mean by the people of Tharaka Nithi, and now God has given us a son from Tharaka Nithi that people in Nyeri want to reject. Yeah? So that's why we are saying...
But is Kindiki being rejected by the people of Nyeri?
I don't think so. Actually, by now, I can tell you, even from where Wamunyoro sits, he knows he has lost the mountain. Well, it's not 100%. I'm very objective. But
you see, Wamunyoro has lost the mountain.
Yeah? He doesn't have a hold.
Who is having the grip?
The people have the grip. Yeah, the people have the grip. The people are listening to Kindiki. The people are listening to Goliath, but I continually see people shifting towards Kindiki, shifting towards government. I'll give you an example. We had a meeting in Nyeri sometime in January. 17,000 in Nyeri. Let me ask you.
State Lodge. Yeah?
At State Lodge. Would we have done that in January 2024?
Money. Yeah,
no.
Yes.
No, let us be open. We'll come to
you
money.
You guys not give people money.
No, let's
there were no
come to money.
5,000 each.
Let's come to money after. You know how the mountain was. Would a UDA meeting have been held in Nyeri in January 2025? Just be honest. Even with all the money in the world, would it have worked?
Not even a mention
the
of
objective answer is no.
And
you could not have done that.
People never,
in fact, you could not have. You could not. In fact, I remember when I branded my vehicles, you know, they were being branded in Nairobi. I was actually worried. That was May last year. A UDA vehicle with the photo of the president, deputy, and myself, ikipita Ngara, itapitia Kirinyaga. I was actually a bit worried. But today what's happening?
We're having a conversation.
People are now have taken a step back and they are listening. Now, and that is where we want our people.
Because time is not on our side, I think. 1 hour ya mashadi utatuongeza ni kidogo. There was a meeting you held in Meru, the UDA leaders.
Yeah.
And there's another one you held in, I think, Kiambu, a hotel in Kiambu. And some of our sources, who actually are MPs, told us that there was a feeling that you guys need to support the deputy president through your own party, so that as ODM continue to demand the position of the deputy president in next year's polls, you also support Kindiki through your own party, so that issues that happen with Gachagua do not occur, or also to increase your bargaining and negotiations power. So do you think that you guys, those who support the government, should support the government through a political party to also enhance your bargaining skills?
Well, I want, I'm of a contrary view. I want UDA to be strongest in Mount Kenya. Yes, because whatever you want to achieve with another party, you can achieve within UDA. If it's a voice you have, if UDA is the ruling party, common sense is you should have the biggest voice within the ruling party. We should have the highest numbers in the ruling party. We should have the highest, we should get the, anytime we are, even within the party we can have an election. That's when we have a strength, not when we are coming from outside. Of course, I understand what they are saying, but again, those people who know the president, they know he's not a guy who goes to scheme behind your back.
But he schemed against Gachagua.
The president, William Samoei Ruto? Do you remember during Gen Z's, when he's calling for a press conference in State House, his deputy was in Mombasa arranging for the same?
Yes.
Who was scheming for who? Number two, and this question I ask people from the mountain, who made who? Is it Ruto who made Rigathi, or it's Rigathi who made Ruto? Who made who in the mountain? Let us be open. People decided to vote for Ruto.
Yeah.
If Wamudende,
I
wish I had my Wamudende name that time, maybe I could be the deputy now. because the president could have picked anyone. Yeah, honestly. So my coming back, because you have asked a very important question. You know, when people, of course, once bitten, you know, twice shy.
Yes.
And but if you look at who is the aggravator of this situation, it is not the president. And that's why, for me, as a UDA member, I want to strengthen the party within the mountain. We've done grassroots elections, and I know we are going to do better. We are going to have a bigger voice as a party, and I encourage people to ensure that we have good leaders in UDA. We have good leaders in UDA, so that, because our people are very keen when it comes to the person. So when we do our nomination, and this is what we are continually telling the party, our nominations have to be free and fair and verifiable. Free, fair, verifiable. We have a good dispute resolution mechanism, but I repeat, free, fair, verifiable, so that we get the best of Mount Kenya leaders.
But Oburu wants power.
Yes.
ODM wants the position that is currently held by Kindiki.
True.
If Kindiki, because you must bargain. So if Kindiki negotiates from a weaker point without a political party, don't you think that he's going to be retained? Don't you think he's going to be retained?
Kindiki has a political party, UDA. UDA doesn't belong to the president. He is our party leader.
Yes.
He is our current flag bearer. By all merit, there is no question. Our deputy president is Professor Kithure Kindiki. He is our person. He is our man. He is our own.
But
he is UDA's
there
own.
There are two deputy party leaders within UDA. There are two. Kindiki is not the only deputy party leader.
Who is the other one?
Governor Timami.
Who?
Is Timami, the Lamu governor.
No. Yeah. You see, there is chair. I'm talking of the party leaders.
Yes.
The party leaders.
Yes, the party leader is President
because
William
even
Ruto, yes.
Because even the what do you call it? We have a chairperson, deputy. There is that party structure, but our party leader, our deputy party leader is Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki, who is the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. The position is not vacant. The position is not being contested within UDA. In fact, he has backing from all UDA members. And therefore, to say that he needs another party so that he has clout, it doesn't make
I'm asking,
sense.
what will be his negotiation? How will he be able to negotiate?
Our numbers within UDA. Yes.
What about ODM?
Yeah. No, ODM are free to want, to have the position, and it's within their democratic rights. But the thing is, we don't have a vacancy in that position, and UDA has a deputy flag bearer, who is Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki. It has not been contested within UDA.
Asante Mwesh. I think time is not on us. I would like you to give us your final thoughts as we wind up.
Yeah, my final thoughts. First, I want to tell Kenyans, especially the youth, any thing that goes wrong in this country is more likely to affect the youth more than anyone. There are people who are making bad decisions, and they are 70, 80. They have outlived most of their useful life. Yeah, and I want to repeat, they have outlived most of their useful life. If there is anything to enjoy, they don't have much to enjoy, and that's a fact. I'm headed there, and I'm happy. Yeah, whether I get there or not, I mean, it's neither here nor there. But I want to say, young people, please try and be very objective as you make decision. Weigh your leaders on good merit, good standards, good parameters. How is this person, how has he been as a person? When you look at our president, and why I really keep on talking about him, is he has made himself from where most of you are as young Kenyans. Can you take a similar journey, compared to people who have been in dynasties, who were born in mansions, you people who took a business class flight as toddlers, versus someone whose first pair of shoes was at 14. So if you want to look at people you can call mentors, people who have achieved in life, both in politics, whether it's in business, whether it's in as academic scholars. Let us have good mentors, and that way we are able to sit back and ask ourselves, where is this person going wrong? Then we give positive criticism, not putting barriers, within our hearts, within our minds, that this person is not working, this person is not taking us somewhere, Kenya is not headed in a good direction. Yet, every day I'm seeing skyscrapers in Nairobi. Who are these people making this money? Are they different from you? What more do they have that you can't achieve? So I want Kenyans not to listen to people who always want to use the voice of the young people, the minds of the young people, intoxicate them with the lies and fallacies so that the young people stand for the wrong things. Anything that goes wrong in Kenya today will affect more someone who is being born today, someone who is 15, someone who is 20, more than it will affect Wamudhende.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's a fact. So please, take more initiative. Like, I get so sad when I look at the number of new registrations. 260,000. We have 2 million unregistered Gen Zs. Where are they? Your voice will not be heard in the streets. Your voice will be heard in the ballot. And you can start with MCAs. We can have an average age of MCA as 20. Why not? You have the numbers. Then we groom them to become the president. But for now, we have a president.
Yes.
And I can tell you, in 2027, there is no parameter, there is no measure that you can use to disqualify President William Ruto as the rightful president of the Republic of Kenya.
Asante Mheshimiwa. Thank you so much for your time, and we have had a very constructive, a very nice debate. I hope when we invite you in the future, you are going to...
No, definitely.
Asante sana. That's it for now. I am Ndongo Gachane.
Yeah.
Unfiltered with Ndongo Gachane.